Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Balderas, and I'm so happy you're here. Well, Happy New Year. It's 2025, new year, and new season, season number 3 for Fresh Catholic. Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't believe I started this podcast 2 years ago. It's nuts to me. Anyway, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you listened to last week's podcast where Simon and I reminisced about 2024. And the highlight of the year and of the podcast last week was remembering all my guests that came on. So I will give you that invitation again to go back and listen to not only that episode so you can hear about my guests, but go back and listen to those episodes that you missed, or maybe you want to revisit because they were so amazing and my guests were so awesome. So I encourage you to do that. Now, moving forward in 2025, what I decided to do this episode on is how to get fit. At this time of year, that's what everybody's thinking about, talking about, how we get fit. And as far as I can tell, or in my own personal view, I think there's 3 ways of being fit. There's, of course, physically fit, which a lot of people are very into at this time of year. I believe there's mentally/emotionally fit, and I believe that there is being spiritually fit. So I'm going to talk about those 3 things today. I have notes because I have a lot of bullet points I want to talk about. And if I don't have notes, y'all, I'm going to forget because I'm getting older by the minute. And so I just want to be sure that I refer to those. So if you see me looking at my notes, that's why. Anyway, I don't know about you, and I've said this before, but I'm not really big into New Year's resolutions. I think the second you say the word resolutions, it's kind of out the window. It's like I don't like the word diet. The second you say you're on a diet, you're starving to death. Why is that? It's very curious to me. Anyway, that's how I kind of feel about New Year's resolutions. I'm wondering, why do they never seem to make it? Why do they always fail? I think it's because after the holidays, people are feeling a certain sort of way. Maybe they're burnt out on the holidays. Maybe they've eaten too much bread and cheese and had way too much wine. This girl right here. I mean, it was enjoyable and everything, but you get to the point where you're like, okay, I got to get my act together here. And you get all these very inspired thoughts, but a week or 2 in, you kind of slack off. Am I right? I mean, I think we all have had that experience. So I like to call them New Year's goals because while I think the New Year's resolutions are we kind of come up with them quickly. There may be unrealistic goals, not goals, they're unrealistic things that we come up with that they're just kind of bound to fail. So I tend to think if you do New Year's goals, you can make them more doable. You can make them maybe in smaller increments, maybe taking things a little slower pace. And the goal would be that you want this to continue through the whole year. One thing that's kind of maybe fun to do is make a note to yourself, like in an appointment book or on a calendar, and say what your thoughts were at the beginning of January. And then when you circle back around next year at the beginning of January and you go to fill in your calendar like I do with everybody's birthdays, see what you said about your goals for 2025 and see how many of those you matched. I also think it might be a fun thing to come up with a game with yourself where it's like, okay, these are the goals I have for the month of January. How many of those by the end of January did you continue to do? And then give yourself a little prize. I'm all for reward. I'm all for bribing. Bribe yourself into doing well. And then if you did well in January and you want to continue those goals, move them over to February. Maybe add some new ones in. So that's kind of a fun thing you can do with yourself. I do think if you have kind of a reward at the end of every month, maybe it'll be more of a motivator. So try that. Anyway, so I want to get started on this. I'm going to start with becoming more physically fit. I think that's where everybody's mind is at this time of year. Again, they're feeling a little sloth like maybe. And so I think I want to give you some ideas about some things you can do to become more physically fit. Because if our bodies aren't healthy and our bodies aren't functioning well, then we're not going to function well. And we have to remember that God created our body and we have to treat it like a temple, as they say. We don't want to abuse it and put bad or toxic things into it. We want to try to be as strong and fit as we possibly can, because then that glorifies our Lord if we're showing that we value the body that He's given us. And some people are very, what's the word I want to use? They don't like their body. They don't like, they have a bad version of themselves and they're hard on themselves. And we have to remember that our bodies were made specifically for us. It's really hard to not compare yourself to other people, but try to not do that. Try to be more involved in healthy habits than in things maybe that you're again being unrealistic about your body type or, I'm not a supermodel. I'm only 5'5". I wish I was Giselle Bundchen, but I'm not. So I admire her and I think she's beautiful and physically fit, but I have to do what's right for my 59-year-old 5'5" disabled body. So I can only do so much, but I just want people to be more kind to themselves about their body and to try to work on having a good body image, because that's a whole thing too. The Lord made you and loves you as you are. He does want you to be healthy. He doesn't want you to be unhealthy, but don't be so hard on yourself. Okay. So a few things that will help you to be more physically fit would be things like you got to stop smoking. You got to stop smoking cigarettes. That is such an unhealthy habit. It's going to shorten your life. It's stinky. People don't want to be around it. It's not good for you at all. So let it go in 2025. Get it out of your life. And that goes for drugs as well. Now, I'm imagining not many of my listeners are doing drugs, but if you are, give those up. That's not suiting you at all. That's not a good thing to be doing. Neither is abundant alcohol consumption. So consider that. Try to pace yourself on your alcohol consumption. Now, I personally love wine. So I have limited my wine consumption. I used to drink a tremendous amount more than I do now. But, I have to be very mindful of it and I have to be very cautious with it. And I want to be sure that it's not taking control of my life. So certainly drugs are one issue. And those are something I think you should give up altogether. Drinking you can do in moderation, or if you don't want to drink or you have alcohol issues, by all means, give it up. Maybe try to limit your alcohol for Lent as well. That's a good time to start a good healthy habit. Also, treats and sugar. Now, I love a good treat. I love to eat treats. Over Christmas, I probably ate too many treats. We were just given so many lovely treats by people. And I love treats as a, special thing. So the holidays are special, but now we're moving past those. So try to limit your sugar and your treats, because anything that's on, as they say on the outer, I think they say on the inner aisles of the market, aren't that great because they're mostly processed foods. They're high in salt, sodium, sugar. I can't have a lot of sodium, so I have to be very mindful of that. That's a danger with my condition that I have from my accident. So, but sugar, not good. Not good. I think you notice a lot of problems with your, not only your body, but your skin and everything when you're eating a lot of sugar, and your dentist notices too. So try to be careful about those. Stop being so sloth-like. I feel like we're just all wandering around in a slow, slow pace, wearing our jammies out to the market and to school. And why are we doing that? Pick it up, people, and get dressed. Put some pride in your clothes. Put some pride in your appearance. You'll feel so much better. And get off the couch. Hey, I love laying around and watching movies, but every now and then you got to get up and you got to go outside and get some fresh air and put your clothes on. Put your clothes on, people. Okay. Drink more water. I drink a tremendous amount of water. I have a water schedule because of my condition. I have to drink a certain amount of water or else my body doesn't function properly. So you will find if you drink more water, you'll be more hydrated. Your skin will be more hydrated. You will feel so much better. Now, I know some people don't like water, they think it's boring. My husband, Simon Balderas, uses these little drops and they're like flavored they're flavored drops that he puts in his water to make it more exciting and fun. And he's drinking more water because of it. So, hey, go ahead and do that if you must. But drink more water. You'll really do well. Eat more healthy, clean food. And when I say clean, I mean pure food, as I used to call it. My son, Cody, my youngest son, used to have quite a weight issue when he was a little boy. And when he was about 17, he decided he wanted to lose weight. I said, you may, but you may not go on a diet because I don't believe in dieting. But let's change the way you're eating. Let's eat more clean food. What that means is things that are made in nature, like fruits and vegetables, things that are pure food, nothing added, like no, I don't want to say preservatives necessarily, but we don't want to eat a lot of manufactured food. Do you know what I mean? So, like when you look at the ingredients on something, the less ingredients, the better. And if you're eating good, healthy, pure food, that's what God intended. He created these foods for us so that our bodies would function properly. So if you are slanted in any one way, eating too much of any one thing, your body isn't going to respond well to that. That's why there's the 5 food groups. You have to learn about what works well and what's healthy for you to keep your body functioning. So really think about that. Look over ingredients with your children. When you go to the market, try to buy fresh food. I also like a lot of frozen, like fruits and vegetables because they don't rot. And they're just, if you look on a frozen bag of green beans, it says ingredients, green beans. That's what I'm talking about. So try to do that. If you can't have fresh produce, because I know that's expensive sometimes, you can have frozen and that I think that's great. So just be really mindful about what you're eating and try to eat less fast food, less processed food, things like that. They're not going to help your body very much. Cook at home more. Simon and I are realizing we like good old home cooked meals better than going out these days. Now, we haven't been able to go out very much because of financial concerns, but the pros of that is that now we're eating in more and the food is delicious. We know exactly what's being put into it. And we get leftovers and it's awesome. Now Simon doesn't like leftovers, but I do. So that's a really good thing is to cook at home, cook as a couple, cook as a family. You got to teach your family how to cook. That's really important. And it is really costly out there when you're trying to go out, especially if you have a large family. So cook at home, make it fun, come up with some creative recipes. Simon comes up with recipes on his own and I always say, "Oh my gosh, I love this. Are we going to have this again?" And he goes, "Well, I don't really know what I did." So he's very creative in the kitchen and it's always delicious. So I highly recommend that. Also, grow a vegetable garden. Simon and I have a vegetable garden in our future, and I'm looking forward to it because I really do like fresh vegetables when we're able to. And if we're having our own garden, then we don't have to pay for them. It's just paying in, hard work, which mainly going to be Simon Balderas. But I think the way that that food tastes, the satisfaction of growing it and consuming it, that's a really good project for your family, and your children will love to get involved. So that's something you can do that's really healthy. Get more sleep. Now, I love sleep. I'm finding out as I get older and older, I am desiring more and more sleep. I think one of my New Year's goals is to maybe take a daily nap because I am one tired gal most of the time. And I don't know why I can't just take a nap. I'm in charge of me. I can do that. So I would say try to have a better sleep pattern, go to bed at the same time every night if possible. Your body clock will get used to it. Turn off the phone, turn off the TV, have your room be a place of sleep so that your brain will get used to that. I'm telling you, the second my head hits the pillow after I say, thank you, God, for this beautiful day, I'm out. I'm done. So I just know because I'm on a very regimented sleep schedule, it it works. Try it. Because I know a lot of people have a problem with sleep, and that is adding to a lot of your anxiety and depression and body problems. So I recommend sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Exercise. You got to exercise. Like I said, quit being sloth-like. Go out and exercise. You could make that whatever you want it to be. You could join a gym. Simon and I joined a gym. We go together. It's very doable. We go for a certain amount of time. It's not very expensive. We found a place that was really inexpensive, and it's a commitment, and you have to like get up and go, but it's really worth it. If you can't do that, you could go on a bike ride. You could go swimming. You could, I don't know, roller skate. Remember that? That's so much fun to do that. You could join a team. There's a lot of like adult league teams out there. If you're one of those people that played sports in high school or college, and then now you're an adult and you're not doing those things anymore, there are lots of groups out there where you could join and continue it on. It'll be so fun, and then you'll have good team spirit. It's a good networking thing. So try that. And I don't know, go to the beach, go to the lake, go to the snow. Get out of your house and go out into the fresh air. That will really help you. So that's my recommendations for getting physically fit. And when I come back, I'm going to talk to you about how to get mentally and emotionally fit. Be right back. Have you ever wanted to witness the miraculous and walk where saints have walked? This is your chance. Join me, Lori Balderas, host of Fresh Catholic Podcast, and Father Matthew Miguel as we walk with you through Italy's most sacred sites. From the Eucharistic miracles of Lanciano and Orvieto to the peace of Assisi, your heart will be transformed by these extraordinary moments of grace. You'll walk the hallowed streets of Rome, step into the history of the Vatican, and witness the places where faith has flourished for centuries. Each stop deepens your journey. Each miracle renews your soul. We invite you to join us on an unforgettable, life-changing experience.
Join us and let your faith come alive in Italy.
Have you checked out Fresh Catholic website yet? Oh my gosh, there is so many things going on there. First of all, we have an online store that has so many faith-based items that are original to Fresh Catholic. We have bags and hats and cups and shirts. We have a dog bowl. We have a puzzle. We have so many things to look at. There's an apron with St. Martha. Oh my gosh, that's so adorable. So check all that out. We also have Fresh Catholic coffee, 17 flavors, roasted and shipped on the same day. You need more coffee in your life, or give it as a gift. We also have information about our pilgrimage that's coming up in September of 2025 to Italy during the Jubilee year with Father Matthew Miguel. Please go check out the itinerary and sign up and come with us. We'll have so much fun. And we're going to record my podcast there, so please check that out. Also, we have Educator Charles Merritt does the Fresh Catholic series on our website and also on YouTube. So check that out. He's done the Gospel of Mark. He did a whole Bible study series on that. He's done a series on the Our Father, the Hail Mary, sin, angels, sacraments and grace, and Advent. So that'll keep you busy over the winter months. You got to catch up with that because he's just coming up with more and more and more. Also, I'd like to give an additional shout out to my friend Tommy and Father Ed, who wrote a song called Carpenter's Son, the Carpenter's Son, about Joseph and the beautiful baby Jesus. So this song is sung by Drew Siglia, and I want you to check it out. I want you to listen to the bonus episode. There's a preview on there, and then download the song. Make it a part of your Christmas list. So thanks for checking everything out. We are so appreciative for you. Thank you for your support. And we're back. Okay, so now you know what to do to get physically fit. That's the number one step. Number two, becoming more mentally and emotionally fit. Now, what I mean by that is when your body is healthy, that helps you to function in one way. But if you're mentally and emotionally not fit and you're feeling anxiety, depression, low self esteem, hopelessness, all these things. That's not good. And the Lord does not want that for you. You are His most beautiful prize in the world. He wants you to be happy and healthy in all facets of your life. And if you're mentally and emotionally not feeling well, you're not going to be able to function very well. You're not going to be a good husband or wife. You're not going to be a good parent. You're not going to be a good child. You're not going to be a good employee. You're not going to be a good student. You have to get your brain and your mind and your emotions in order. And sometimes that's really hard, especially if you have a lot of outside interference or a lot of outside chaos or a lot of uncertainty. So all these things are going on in our world for sure. But you can get in control of these things. You can pray to the Lord to help you every morning. Lord, please help me so that I can focus on you, Lord, not focus on all these anxieties I'm having. Lord, please relieve these anxieties from me. Please take these burdens off my shoulders. I can't handle it. Lord, please clear my head and my thoughts so that I can be more focused on you and to just want to have a good positive attitude in life and know that you're with me every step of the way. But some practical things you can do to do that would be limit your screen time. There have been studies done more and more and more at how our cell phones, how our screen time is damaging ourselves and our children. It's gone completely nuts. It's gone haywire. There were not enough restrictions put on these items to begin with. So what's ended up happening is it's now just a free for all. In my opinion, they need to take phones out of the schools. That's got to go. That's not working. I have a friend who's a substitute teacher, and he says these children all have their phones. It's a distraction. It takes all this time away from class time because the teachers and the substitute teachers and the aides all have to be constantly harassing these kids about putting their cell phones down. It's taking away from the learning, and it's ridiculous, and it's unnecessary. They don't need those in the classroom. They don't. So that's one thing I think the more we can, as parents and grandparents and just people in general, even if you're an employer, the more that you can encourage and require that the people around you aren't glued to their phones constantly and have a time and a moment where they put their phones down. In your family, have a time where the phones are off. I think my daughter, I think she was telling me that they can't have their phones when they go to bed at night. They have to put them somewhere and they go to bed. Otherwise, they would be on them all night long. And that's, again, not necessary. So I know a lot of people have them where you can't have a phone at the dinner table. You need to put the phones down, step away from the screens, focus on real people and real relationships, and that will help your mental and emotional health. Be more present with friends and family. When you put the phones down, even if you have the phones, whenever, be more focused on your friends and family. When you're having a conversation with somebody, look them in the eye when you're having a conversation. Don't always be looking at your phone. Don't always be reaching for your phone. Don't always be looking beyond the person and see what the next best thing is coming. Focus on your relationships with actual humans standing in front of you. It's really important. Engage with them. Give them a hug. give them a handshake, give them a pat on the back, give them encouragement, but be present. That's really important. How do you feel when you're talking to somebody and they're looking at their phone instead of you in the eye? It doesn't feel very good. And our children are picking up on this and they're certainly doing the same thing. So let's be mindful of that. Have more dinners together as a family. I mean, back in the olden days, not that long ago, really, people used to sit every night for dinner together and they would discuss their day, good and bad, highs and lows, and enjoy a meal together, preparing it, setting the table, engaging with each other, clearing the table, and moving on with their life. What happened? Why are we not doing that anymore? That there are, again, studies show that when you sit down as a family, your family is more successful and engaged with each other. And again, no phones. Leave the phones, have a basket, have a box, have something where people put them to the side. Do that. And I think your family will really, I mean, it's just going to benefit your family. And this is how you know what goes on in everybody's day. And it's not a bunch of grunting and a bunch of, how was your day? Fine. That's not engaging with each other. So make a point of having family meals together. Come up with some hobbies to do together or alone. Remember hobbies? I mean, I'm old. I know I have a lot of elderly listeners. Everybody used to have hobbies. What happened? There's no hobbies. Simon and I were talking the other day, and I said, we need hobbies in our future because I used to have a million hobbies and I don't have time for hobbies anymore, but I'm going to make time for hobbies this year because I think that's really important. I really miss doing things like that. It really helps to relax people. It helps them, whatever it is. I love to hear what all kinds of people's hobbies are because I think it's a good insight into a person. Like, why are they into that thing? Like, why do they stamp collect? Why do they like to garden? Why do they like to do crafts? Why do they like to paint? These different things, like what draws them to those, and then encourage them to do that. I think, our children certainly aren't doing hobbies. Video games isn't a hobby. Doing a cell phone, doing TikTok videos, that's not a hobby. So let's make 2025 year of the hobby. Back to the hobby. Read more, like actual books. Now, I'm not the best reader in the world, honestly. I used to be a big reader when I was a child. I used to climb up in a tree and read. I used to read in my bed. I loved to read when I was younger. And then I went through a big magazine phase. So all I did was read magazines. Now, technically, that's reading, but it wasn't books. And then last year, 2024, I read the most books I've read in who knows how long, since maybe I was 10. So I was very proud of myself. It kind of petered off towards the end of the year, to be honest with you. I just got involved in other things, but I want to get back on the reading train this year. I got a new book for Christmas from my husband, so I'm going to start with that one. And I like to read religious books because that's the thing that brings me the most joy at this time of my life. So whatever it is, do that for yourself. Read. It helps your brain. It gives you, it makes you think, it makes you focus, and it's a really good thing to do. So I highly recommend it. And again, it's an old school thing, but it shouldn't be. Books are great. Watch more nature shows. I don't know about you, but there is nothing more entertaining than watching animals. What are they doing? How do they do it? It's very fascinating. It's very educational. There's so many things on, I think, Disney Plus that you can watch. Oh my gosh, documentaries with all these animals. It really is fascinating. So, and funny. A lot of the time it's funny, it's heartfelt. It really shows you how animals are very human-like sometimes. So do that as a family. That's a fun thing to do. Watch old movies together. Simon and I have been watching a lot of black and white, old movies, things I've never seen before in my whole life, and I'm a big movie person. That's been very beautiful and wonderful, and just to go back and see how they used to make movies, and the stories were so much more simple and they didn't have a hidden agenda or anything. They were just entertainment and beautiful, and the actors were amazing and iconic. And then you could also watch, not that long ago movies, like from when we were all kids or when our children were kids, and watch those and introduce those to your children. Because again, I'm going to sound like a big Debbie Downer, but a lot of the newer movies are just sequels and remakes. So go back and watch the original movies of things because they're totally worth it. They are famous for a reason, and they've made stars out of the people that are in them for a reason, and they're very entertaining and awesome. So check them out. Do them by season. Sometimes that's fun, like have certain ones you watch in the winter, spring, summer, and fall. So I highly recommend that. Have everybody like write down a bunch that they want to watch and then check them off. Do more like puzzles and Sudoku. I don't want to do Sudoku, but crossword puzzles or puzzles are really good again for your brain. And those are good things to focus on, and it'll help your brain to not turn to mush so much. Go visit museums and art galleries. Oh my goodness. Again, this is how we learn about our past if you go to museums. It really gives you an insight of where we were, where we've come, how far we've come, and where did things originate? How did they used to do things? I mean, I think museums are fascinating. You can totally get lost in them. They're so educational for yourself and your family. And I'm sure in your area, you have museums. So go check them out. Make a day trip, make a list of museums you want to visit and make it something that you do this year. Same thing with national parks. I know we had a priest at our church, Father Joe. He and his family always go to national parks. I think that's a pretty cool thing. And art galleries and art museums, those are also very important. So you can look back and see famous artists and look at the paintings they did. Again, they're iconic. When you go to different art museums and you'll see an actual painting that you've only seen in photo books, you're like, oh my gosh, that's the actual painting. It's an amazing to think that there was an artist, hundreds of years ago or long, long time ago that sat and painted those paintings that are now famous. So check out all those museums. Teach your children nursery rhymes, songs, and games that are like the old school ones. A lot of little kids don't know nursery rhymes, and those are our history. A lot of them don't know our little simple songs, like the Itsy Bitsy Spider or Mary Had a Little Lamb. They don't know games like Jacks and Scrabble and Chinese checkers and, what's it called? What was that called? Cat's cradle. Teach them these things. Those are fun and old school and very inexpensive. Oh, tiddlywinks. That's another one. I used to play tiddlywinks and pickup sticks, easy for me to say, with my beloved Poppy. So those are things that are old school toys, and they're worthwhile and they're fun. And they don't need a bunch of battery filled toys and games. They just don't. Go on one-on-one dates with your children. Sorry, I have a bug in my studio. Go on one-on-one dates with your children or do something even at home one-on-one with your children. That way they feel extra special and you are teaching them things or getting an insight to them. Oh my gosh, this bug. Insight to them, and they can also have some one-on-one time with you and get to know you better. When there's a lot of people around, you certainly can't have that quality time. You can do this with your grandchildren as well. I like to take my grandchildren one-on-one sometimes so that I just have them all to myself and I can learn about what their life is at this moment. Go on monthly dates with your spouse. I would like to try to start doing this. Simon and I have done this sporadically throughout our married life, but I think it's good to set a date and say, we're going to spend this day together. You don't have to plan ahead necessarily what it's going to be, but just that day is set aside or that evening is set aside. It's really important that you keep your relationships going with everybody and everybody's being made to feel of value, because that's something that mentally, if you don't feel very important or very you feel like you're being taken for granted, that your relationships are going to suffer because of that. So do some one-on-one time with your children, grandchildren, and spouse. And then have some good alone time with yourself. Pamper yourself. Take a bubble bath. I don't know, paint your nails. Put a face mask on. I like to do that. Watch a TV show that you want to watch that nobody else wants to watch, or a movie, or just go on a walk by yourself. I don't know. Pamper yourself. Take care of yourself. You're always taking care of other people. Take care of yourself. Well, that was mentally and emotionally fit. Next one up is how to become more spiritually fit. So when I come back, I'll dive into that. Be right back. Thank you for tuning in today. We really appreciate you being a loyal listener. I want to remind you that in addition to our weekly topic episodes, I also do Fresh Catholic Daily, the daily Mass readings. They're nice and short, 5 to 7 minutes, perfect for your drive to work or school, or while you're cooking, cleaning, on a walk. So tune into those, get your daily dose of Jesus. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and I do little short videos every day. So tune into those, tell all your friends, subscribe, please, rate and review. We really would appreciate it. I'm just trying to draw people to the Catholic faith, or back to the Catholic faith. Help me to do that, won't you? And we're back. So I saved the best for last. How to become spiritually fit. Well, this is probably, well, they're all important, but if we're not spiritually fit and we're not right with the Lord and we're not focused on Jesus throughout our day, we will suffer. I don't know about you, but the more disconnected I am from God, the more when I let other distractions come into my life and I see that Jesus is being pushed to the side, or he's down on the list for the day, I can tell you already my day is not going to go very well, and I'm not going to feel very well, and I'm not going to function very well. And that means the people around me are going to notice that, and they're going to be the brunt of it all. So I think it's really important and vital, especially we Catholics and we Christians need to make Jesus and our Lord and the Holy Spirit a priority in our life. Now, I came up with some ideas, but I also miraculously this morning, I was looking at the news. I get this certain kind of news that's very conservative news, very Catholic news. And I there was somebody who wrote a list of things of how to become spiritually fit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So I want to give them credit because I don't want to say that I came up with all these by myself, because that wouldn't be right. So they're called refinelife.co. So they have, if you go to that, you can go and they have a lot of different things you can look out and check out at their website. But this was the thing that they wrote an article about, so I'm going to draw from this today. So thank you, refinelife.co. Okay, so to become more spiritually fit, some of the ideas you can do are pray the rosary or Divine Mercy Chaplet every day. Now, I have an app on my phone. I actually have two apps on my phone. One is just the simple rosary, and it's very to the point. The other one is a scriptural rosary, and it has scripture quotes throughout the rosary. Now, some people might find that distracting. I actually like it. I listen to it in the morning, and it helps me to kind of stay on track with it and know what's happening for that daily rosary. However, when I really just want a concentrated rosary, I go to the other app. I know in our church after daily mass, a group gets together in the church and prays the rosary. I think that that's a really important thing to do if you have the time to stay after, pray the rosary after daily mass and get started on your day. That is like the best vitamins in the world for you, is to do that. So, and then the Divine Mercy Chaplet, I actually love that too. And my music director, Andrew Petraka, who on my dailies, he sings the gospel acclamation on every daily episode. He actually recorded a Divine Mercy chaplet that I recorded kind of secretly. I've played it so many times that I told him, however many times it's been listened to on YouTube, it's probably me. So I just love to hear him sing the Divine Mercy chaplet. And so I wish everybody had an Andrew Petraka to sing their Divine Mercy chaplet. I put my headphones on and I listen to it and just, I love it. So I highly recommend that. Go to confession at least once a month. I know Father Matthew Miguel, every time I would go to confession, he would encourage me to go at least once a month. I really slacked off on that, to be perfectly honest with you. I need to go to confession about that. I think that that's really important. Just go get it off your chest, whatever it is. Go get it off your chest, get it off your soul. Breathe easy, be a clean vessel as often as you are able. It's really important. Have your house blessed. I know a lot of people have this done. I think it's a very comforting thing. Have your priest or your deacon come and bless your home. And have your family involved in it. Go room to room with them and just feel your house being cleansed of all evil spirits. Start the morning with a morning offering. I think that's really important. So, anytime you can start the day on the right foot, first thing when your eyes pop open, thank you, Lord, for bringing me safely to this day. Please watch over me. Thank you for giving me a good night's rest. And please help me with my day today, Lord. Arrive early and stay until the end of Sunday Mass and spend 5 minutes afterward in praise. Well, it would be very unusual if Catholics showed up to Mass early. There's a small percentage that do, but for the most part, Catholics like to come breezing in a little after it begins. So try to get there early, try to get situated, focus on Mass. Don't rush out. Do not leave right after you receive communion. Stay for the final prayer and blessing. And then, if you can, stay afterward for another 5 minutes for just prayer and reflection. And then I'll add a little something to this. I think something that I want to start doing this year is, after you leave Mass, you're in the car with your family, ask everybody what their favorite part of Mass was, or what they liked about the homily, or something like that, because then you can follow up on what you all just heard and experienced, but hear what everybody's take was on it, because everybody's going to have a different version and a different view. Don't let everybody get away with the thing where they go, I liked it when it was over. When you ask a kid, how was school today? What was your favorite part? Recess or lunchtime? No, that's a cop-out answer. Try to really have a dialogue about what you heard at Mass. You're in the car, you might as well get it done. And I think it will become a healthy habit. And it's something that then people will know that that's going to be what you're going to talk about. And while they're in Mass, maybe they're already going to be thinking, oh, I really like this. This is what I'm going to talk about when we're on our way home. Abstain from meat every Friday, not just during Lent. I have been doing this now for a few years, excuse me, and I think it's important. I don't know why they took it away. I know that it used to be that everybody always didn't eat meat on Fridays when you're Catholic, but I really encourage you to do that and know that we're doing it in reverence to our Lord who died on the cross on Good Friday. So I encourage you to do that. It's a good thing to, have that, that you're abstaining and having that. Commit to radical honesty in speech and internal monologues. So when I say that, I don't mean to be mean or rude or hostile or aggressive or say something that's going to hurt or harm somebody. But you should be honest with people. If you're not honest with them, first of all, I don't believe they can trust you, good, bad, or indifferent. So try to be honest and try to give people encouragement and praise when you can. And try to also give calm, you know, constructive criticism and guidance to people who need it. Because Otherwise, everybody's just kind of a free for all, and you don't want to see people failing and stumbling and falling. Make a list of those who have hurt you and forgive them one by one. This is a hard one, but an important one. When you don't forgive people for past indiscretions or even things that are currently happening, all it does is hurt and harm you and your relationship with God because He wants you to be loving, kind, and forgiving. Now, if somebody is actively hurting and harming you and they're not showing any remorse and they're not showing any change and they're not showing any wanting to move forward, you can still pray for them, but you also don't want to become a victim to what they're doing to you. So be mindful, hope that they're going to come through at the other end, and then, of course, you can forgive them. But forgiving someone is very important. It will really help everybody's relationships around you. I know I've said in past episodes, I had a huge rift with my sister for over 20 years. It was not good. I was a grudge holder and it hurt me, her, our families, our mother in particular. And now we're slowly coming back together. It's a slow process, but it's okay. I have forgiven her for past things that really hurt and harmed me. And I don't want to hold on to it anymore. It doesn't mean I forgot what happened, but it means that I don't choose to sit in that anymore. So if you're able to forgive people, I highly recommend it. I think it would just it's going to take a big weight off your shoulders and theirs. And again, if they're continuing on, maybe separate yourself from them, but pray for them every day. And when it comes to the point where you're able to forgive, please forgive them. God would want that. Read the Gospels all the way through. I think this is really important. And Simon got me a a Word on Fire gospel Bible, and it's just the Gospels, but it has Bishop Barron has done commentary. There's other things to read, but it is the four Gospels, and it's done in such a beautiful way. I think you can order that, and it's very worthwhile. It's beautifully done. It's something that everybody in the family can enjoy, and it's very doable. You could read a chapter a day. It's a beautiful way to learn, or just get out your handy dandy Bible and start reading the Gospels. It's really important. And then, I always am very interested in what Jesus had to say because he's my number one guy. Wear religious symbols for the entire year. I know I wear my medals. I have certain medals I wear every day, and they are with saints or with Jesus. And when I wear them, I feel like it's just a team with me. It's something I've said in past episodes. If you see me kind of messing with my medals, it means I'm praying and I'm asking for extra help. If I'm rubbing them, I'm kind of praying, Lord, please help me, or Saint Rita, please help me. I kind of swap out my medals sometimes, and depending on the situations I'm in, I wear a crucifix every day. These also draw attention to you, that people can tell that you're Catholic. And I find that it's always a conversation starter. And it's not about me. I'm not wearing them to draw attention to me. I'm wearing them so that people will recognize that I am a Catholic. And I value that very much. And usually they'll ask me about them. And I'm not shy to say that I'm Catholic and that what they are. And they always ask what church I go to. I always welcome them to come to our church. So it is a conversation starter, and it's all about drawing people to Jesus, not to this girl. Complete an online course on a spiritual topic. Oh, I think that's pretty awesome. I know Catholic Answers I think they have a course. If you go to their website, I think you can take different courses there. So, and also Word on Fire, I imagine they probably have courses. So get more educated. I mean, we'll never know everything about the Catholic faith because there's so much to learn, but we can certainly get started and try. Commit to at least 15 minutes of prayer per day. Now, one of the things I pray a lot all day, every day. I don't know how really great and quality my prayer is. I think I'm easily distracted. I think my life is very chaotic. I think I'm always rushing here and rushing there and pray when I can. But I think there's something to be said about being in a silent or quiet space and focusing solely on prayer. I think a beautiful place to do that is the Adoration Chapel because it is so quiet and beautiful. I need to add more of that type of prayer into my life because it's this way I'm praying is just not working for me. Join a Bible study or a church group. There's a lot of them out there, and I think that's a good way to get together, to worship with other people, to have some fellowship and FaceTime with people where you're actually in the same room with them. I think it's really important. And to hear other people's take on what you're reading. I always find that fascinating. It's like read a passage and then go around and have everybody say what their thoughts are about it. I think that's really important. Volunteer at your church. Trust me, they need you. We need lots of volunteers, and I'm sure every church out there is the same as our church. Volunteers are vital to keeping a church going so that everybody can function. Certainly, one person can't do all the work. There needs to be many workers, and many hands make light work, as my beloved Poppy would say. So, volunteer for at your church. There's so many jobs you could do. Start or join a ministry. Again, there's many of them out there. Find something that you're interested in and then go be a part of it because you will thrive and get your family involved or do it by yourself, but get involved. That's really important. Listen to religious podcasts. Hey, I have an idea. You could listen to Fresh Catholic Daily. You could listen to Catholic Daily Reflections, which I highly recommend you partner with Fresh Catholic Daily, the daily mass readings, and then listen to Catholic Daily Reflections. They're really good in tandem. You can get both of them done in 10 minutes. So while you're driving or on a walk or any of that, listen to Catholic Answers if you have a lot of questions. I used to listen to Catholic Answers all the time, and people call in and you get to hear the answers of why we do what we do and what our, rules and guidelines are. You can listen to Bible in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz. He also does Catechism in a Year. Those are very beneficial to people. You can chew them off one a day and it's totally doable. So I highly recommend religious podcasts. There's many of them out there, and I really do appreciate your support for my podcast. And I encourage you to have other people listen. We're now on YouTube, and that's really booming. So go over there and subscribe to that, please. And the more you review and the more you like and share, that just helps build up my podcast and other people's podcasts so that there can be continued content. Okay. So I really need you to do that. You could go on a retreat. I think a lot of people go on retreats and it changes their life. I hear more about life changing experiences for teenage retreats than I hear about any other retreats. I think people go to all sorts of retreats and they're very beneficial, but for whatever reason, the teenage retreats seem to be the thing where God and the Holy Spirit just go through these kids and they come out of it and their life has changed. I mean, I hear more stories about that than anything. And I think that that is amazing. And it just shows me that those kids are really, you know, they're clay, like the potter's clay. And Jesus is going in and really working in their body, soul, and spirit. So try to get your kids signed up for retreats if you can, because I think it's life-changing and important. I know they go into it really hesitant, and when they come out, they feel so much better. And last but not least, go on a pilgrimage. It's the Jubilee year. you have to go on a pilgrimage. There's a lot of them out there, but of course, I'm going to highly recommend my own pilgrimage, which is the Fresh Catholic Pilgrimage to Italy in September 29th to October 7th. I always get that wrong. Is that true? Yes, that's true. Go to my website. You can see the itinerary. You can see everything that it involves. There is a number there. There's a way you can reach out to Kayla at Trinity Tour Travels, and she can give you any information you need. There is a $300 deposit. You can make payments, and we're going. And Father Matthew Miguel is coming with me. He's an amazing, wonderful priest, and we're going to have such a beautiful time. It's going to be just a life-changing, beautiful, meaningful, important bucket list type of a trip. So please come with us. We would love it if you would come. We're going to record the podcast there, film a documentary while we're there. I mean, it's going to be amazing. So please join us. And if not us, join another pilgrimage that you feel more suited to. So that's what I have to say about becoming more spiritually fit. Now, wait, I have to ask my producer, do we have another commercial or we did both? We did both. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to finish up with an encouragement to come up with your top 10 goals for 2025. Do your top 10 goals as an individual, and then sit down with your family and do your top 10 goals as a family. I think it's really important to get it down on paper, maybe come up with a theme of the month or something you want to do, and then jump in and get started, because we're at the beginning of January right now, and now is the time. So let me give you my top 10 goals for 2025. This girl. Number 1, focus more during Mass and have more focused prayer time. Number 2, go to confession at least once per month, as per Father Matthew Miguel. Father, if you're listening, I'm going to take you up on it. Number 3, stay and pray the rosary at least once per week in the church. I never do that, and I would like to start doing that at least once a week. Number 4, read a religious book at least one per month. So I'm going to get started on that new book. Number 5, eliminate stuff and toxic relationships that are just causing chaos, and reduce them so that I can reduce my chaos and my anxiety. Number 6, eat healthier and take more naps. I love both of those. Number 7, limit phone usage and screen time. Now, I love my phone, but I'm going to really work on that one. Number 8, once a month date day with Simon, my husband. Hear that, Simon? Number 9, be more connected to my children and grandchildren. Now, everybody has a busy life, so I want to try to FaceTime them more. I'm on a group text with my grandchildren, and I text them every morning. I need to do that with my other grandchildren who live out of state. I want to FaceTime them more because I don't get to see them personally. And so I would like to do that. And number 10, surrender more to God's guidance and will. Sometimes I say I'm surrendering to it, but I have to really work on letting go, giving Him everything I have, and allowing Him to do His best work and just guide me. And I know whatever He has planned is the best. And if anything is chaotic or anxiety-ridden or negative, I know it's not from Him, and I need to steer clear of it. So that's what I'm working on. So thank you for coming today. I know this has been a lot, but you got to get started on the new year and become a healthier, more spiritually fit person. Thank you. Love you. Bye.